Hello, and welcome to another Thursday night with Keeping It Real with the Sisters of the Light. I'm Ann Kuether here with Terri-Ann Russell.
Hello.
Hello, and we're talking about the shift. I'm excited about this one. And this one we did prepare. Normally we don't prepare. We didn't even really prepare. We asked what we wanted to talk about, and I said the shift, right?
Yes, and so it was
Are
interesting
you
because
there? Hello. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead. Sorry.
do you have a delay?
Yes, I do. Yeah, big one. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my God, this is part of it, when we
Mm,
start talking about it, it's like we're so out there.
mm,
So what I feel like is like light workers, we've been doing our work year after year, right? Um,
mhm.
we've done so much internal work, and right now we're being called. It's like I feel like it's like double time, right? So something comes up, we look at it, what it is, we release it, we clear it, go through our life for a couple days, and then some shit comes up again, and you're like, what the hell?
And I'm feeling that with everybody. I think, and that's the shift that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, the world's going to come to an end, get everything, say goodbye to your loved ones because next Wednesday it's over. It's flattened. I'm not meaning that at all. But just with the more people that I've been connecting with and in my prayers and in my journaling, it just says, that there's a shift coming and we need to be prepared for that. And what that means of what it was coming to me is not so much being prepared is like going out and working out, but it is getting your body, mind, and soul prepared. And by doing that is watching what we're eating, right? But not so much the eating part. Watch who we're hanging around with, right?
Mhm.
In our environment that we're putting ourselves in, because it's going to be so draining. Because what we think right now, like if you're going through a shit show right now and you think that life isn't going exactly the way you want it to go, enjoy
Me.
it, right? Yeah, enjoy it, because actually this is awesome compared to what's coming up, is what I'm feeling. So it's like, that's why I think we're not to manifest like we normally can. I'm very grateful that way. Like, um, granted, I don't have the $1 million home and my convertible car over there. Why can I arrange, what is it, Land Rover or Rover or whatever it is? I love that.
See, you're feeling it too.
I want the convertible. Yeah, but it is just, what I'm trying to say is that I don't know what I'm trying to say. There's just a shift, and we need to get ready for it. And when I want something, and I've had a comfortable life, if I really put my mind to it and pray, to my angels, to the Father in heaven, my spirit guides, whatever, I get, those little. I get something comes to me, right? If I work for it, it comes. It just comes. I'm not going to say easily. I got to work for it, but it does come, right? Now I feel like, somebody put on the freaking brakes, and I'm not getting into the flow as easy of the manifestation as I was before. That's what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It does, yeah, and it really feels like so. Like for me, like I don't look at it in like linear time,
Hmm. Hmm.
but time was really sped up for a long time, and I felt like we were like losing weeks and everything.
Yeah.
Now time feels like it's very slowed down.
Yes.
We're in the space, right? And we're like, all right, well, I feel like I'm almost like when I get a vision, it's like I'm trudging through like quicksand, it's like,
Yeah.
come on, where we make these plans and we're trying to do things, and then all right, the brakes come on, and it's like, nope, it's not time.
Yeah.
When I connected today, what I got was a little bit more prepared from the galactics. So sort of like if you view it as like they use the word not explosion, they use the word implosion. So we're going from the inside out. We're working, and just like you have a when you conceive a child and a baby, you grows from the inside out. We are growing from the inside out. So this implosion is going to come. There's going to be a lot of existential crisis because people aren't going to really understand now what is all this stuff that's coming to the surface. We've been talking about this stuff for years, and I feel like that's like a mere understatement of what's going to happen.
Mhm.
So rather than living in like a fear-based thought of, oh my God, inside of me is going to be like, what the hell?
Right.
As you were saying earlier, we need to prepare by getting our bodies, our minds, and our spirits in that space. I've just been recently called because my son's birthday's tomorrow in spirit, and his angel date is in July. He gave me 40 days. Now, in the Bible, the 40 days is very significant. 40 days to go within, not within here, within my heart, to do the work, to prepare. So, what I was shown today was that we've been way showers, but we're going to be more way showers. So, for the people that aren't our families, that aren't really going to understand, hey, what the hell's going on? Why am I feeling like this? It's up to us then. If we keep our mind, body, and soul clear, that channel, we're going to be able to help them, but we have to prepare for that to happen.
Right.
So be as high vibe as possible. We talk about this is my best friend right now.
Your clear crystal.
The double tourmalated clear crystal is my best friend. So you take energy in one end and it transmutes it out the other end. Because the energy is very heavy, with Saturn retrograde, I feel like the brakes have been put on, like, full force. The brakes are on, and it's time for us light workers to prepare for this space we're going into.
Yeah. And I just think, and it's not so, I love how you said the quicksand, because that's how I feel like with me it's going. I feel like I got to work on my patience. I think that's one of the other things that it came through to me in my channeling. But when you were saying getting stuck in the mud, I almost feel like it's that bad horror movie, where you're walking or running down the hall and the hall just keeps on getting longer and longer and longer. Like you can see the end of the door, but you can't get to it just because the hallway just keeps on getting longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe that. And I also, like, I find myself getting frustrated too, because like my thing is like, okay, if I have this beautiful gifts, right? And I am so grateful that I can do my prayers and I do listen and I do get the answers, right? So then if that's the case, then what the hell? Like why can I not be helping more people, right? Like why are things coming to a halt for me? So it makes you start guessing your even, at least for me, I shouldn't speak for everybody else, but it makes me start guessing my guess. Like, okay, was I really making this up? Or
Right.
whatever. But then when I do my readings, it's like, no, but you need to take time back. You need to step back because we need to get your body, mind, and soul prepared. And then this is a time now where we really need to focus on our weaknesses. And I was like, okay, so what am I weak? And I was like, okay, well, right there, I just answered it. The patience. I don't have patience. I want that instant gratification. When I sit down and I'm working with a client or something and I'm channeling something, I want the information just to come just like that. And it just seems like I'm having to work a little bit harder for that. But I think that's what I'm supposed to learn is slow it down. Like I think that's why things are going so much slower is we need to slow down, right? And we're changing. We're always changing, and things will always be changing. It's the world. We don't want to stay as much as I think we've said this many times when you get so many people are like, oh my gosh, this world today. And again, I will argue with anybody. When has the world been in complete zen? There's always been shit going on, and as long as we're here, the shit will always be going on. And when people say, fight, might say, well, why is God not, God's not doing this? This world is a shit show because of us humans. It has
Right.
nothing to do with God. He came here to let us here have the experience, and we're the ones that are turning into a shit show.
Right. We
That's
came here to learn, and it's a freaking shit show.
yeah.
I
That's
say that
how
all the time.
yeah. I mean, he's looking down at us going, I'm giving you so much, and you guys are just you're the ones who causing it, the craziness that's going on.
Well, I think, and it's going to get crazier because when people start to realize their power within, and even me lately, as of late, I've been called to remember who I am,
to reflect. Yeah.
what power I have, the power I have to create But like you, I haven't been creating. So it's like, it's frustrating. I'm like you, I have no patience. I always say, like, I'm 53 and I haven't learned patience yet. I just don't think that's a lesson I'm going to learn while I'm here.
But we have to, and I think that's what keeps on coming through. That's what we're supposed to learn right now.
Mm-hmm,
For
mm-hmm.
me, it's I got to learn patience.
Yeah.
Then I also got to learn to stop procrastinating. When an idea or something comes to me, I need to act on it. Instead of what comes to me is I keep on saying, "Oh, I'll get it done." And now I'm one of those people that I almost work better under pressure. So I'll wait until the very last minute and then I come in strong. I've just always been that way. But I think this is my lesson is to stop procrastinating because I'm thinking that I have tons of time when I really don't.
Right.
Right?
My lesson is to rest as well. Are you getting that message as well?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, this popped in. I got to go. Even today, I was like, oh, this popped in. I got to go. And they're like, nope, nope, nope. You don't
Yeah.
get it. Nope. Stop. And I'm like, it's so hard when you're that type of personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you. We're very much the same in the fact that we're go getters. We want to work at our highest potential. And when the information comes in, you're like, okay, I've got to do this. But now this inner work is really calling us, just as if the last couple of days too, I've shifted. You're ahead of me on this one. I've shifted my eating and drinking.
Mm,
I've been trying for weeks to get into this space, and I haven't been able to get into it. And
right.
they keep telling me you need to be in this space. For me, the physical is the hardest. So
Mm-hmm.
getting into the space of drinking more water, green juices, celery juice is coming up. What else? Spirulina came up for me again today, which I used to do spirulina a long time
I
ago.
don't know what that is. What is that?
Spirulina is I believe it's an antioxidant, and it's a green powder that I put in my teas or my smoothies.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's very high frequency. It clears out a lot of the toxicity in our body.
Mm,
We are
yeah.
being called to clear out the toxicities in our body. Like you said, our environment, the people that are around us. And you are going to be, as you're doing this, you're going to notice, if you haven't already, that people around you are going to start being more agitated with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to really start to aggravate them. I mean, I had something just recently, I told you about it, but it came up with an ex, and we haven't had an issue like this in about 7 years.
Wow. Yeah.
7 years. And Saturn went retrograde. It was like, here he is again in my face. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well,
But
this is
that's what I'm talking about. That's what's been coming out. And now, for people to understand, I don't sit and watch the news. I don't watch the
me
news,
either.
right? So this information, I mean, granted, am I going to say I don't watch it at all? No, I always watch the Weather Channel. But once they start talking about somebody got shot, I walk away. I just don't want to hear it, right? You
Yeah.
know, um, but what they're saying to me is that see, I'm losing my train of thought again. So just take it away. See, I don't know, like, how am I supposed to be
Well, I
like
think what they're saying is, so this is what they've showed me.
so annoyed with myself right now?
The more you watch stuff like that, the more you get entangled in the web that they weave.
Yes, that's
And
what
I'm channeling, so bear with me. The more you get entangled in the web that they weave, the more that it's almost like they're showing me like a bass. You know how the bass with the guitar, you turn up the bass and the friggin' windows explode?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. They've turned up the frequencies and everything. And so people that are very sensitive, have a high sensitivity, notice these frequencies. They are agitating those frequencies within them.
Right.
So it's not like the chalkboard where you scratch the nails on the chalkboard,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you feel that within your entire being. So
Yeah.
it's meant to distract us, and it's meant to blur. That's why we're having the trouble also with the remembering and the thinking,
It's
because
been
of those
so bad
frequencies.
the last 2 weeks. I mean, bad. Like
It's all
really.
subliminal programming. I mean, you know that the word program is called the word program for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything they do is to program you.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's what I've been also feeling is like you were saying, the tension and the energy. But that's what it feels like. Everybody's just their tension is just they're wound up so tight, and they're almost like just ready to explode.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is just turn off the news. Stop worrying about, so if you can't change it, then don't get your nose in it. Stop being the Karens of the world. If you can't change it, right? The best way we can change it is do prayer, think positive, and send out love. That's what I feel like is the best way. If I can't literally go and change it,
Mhm.
I can give out the love, right? I can give out love energy. And I think that's what we need to do more, because people are just getting untwined. And that was one of the things that came in one of the journaling about the shift. When I was like, they're saying a big shift is coming, whatever. I'm like, okay. And I know the world's not coming to an end. And I really know that even though I know a shift is coming and they're telling me to get prepared, but I also have a feeling that I'm going to be okay too. Like, I'm not anxious. I just need to start listening to them more. But in the thumbnail that I made for this show, if you notice, I did a volcano. And that was one of the things that they were addressing to me, is that Mother Earth can go, and she needs to change to the environment to help her keep on going. But she's shed so many times that it's almost like showing me that it's getting right there, that Mother Earth can't, it just can't shit. It can't, there's nothing left of her to shed. She keeps on shedding, rebuilding herself, replenishing herself. And then we all come in, we destroy her a little bit more. And then she comes in and she does these bad storms. She puts killer soil back in. She does whatever she needs to do to regroup. But then it's just, we destroy it again. And it's almost to the point that that's what I feel like, eruption has to happen. Can't take it anymore. And she needs help. And we're taking and taking, but we're not giving back.
Mm.
That's what I was like, wow. I'm like, that right there, really, when I went back and I read my writing, that was my aha moment.
Yeah.
That we take this earth for so much granted. And I'm not just saying like go plant a freaking tree or something, but I mean,
And you know what's going to happen is it's going to be taken away from us. Not the
yeah,
earth,
take care
not
of
the
it.
earth,
Yes.
the money, the things, the internet. I was like DSL. I'm going to
You know
age
what?
myself. The
I
internet. Hmm.
that that right there is so funny because me with the Instagram thing, I'm like, okay, why am I still doing it? Because I'm not an influencer. I don't want to be influencer. I don't want to dance or whatever. I want to teach and I want to help people. I want to help people break through whatever is getting them stuck. That's what
You
I do.
will. You're going to get your chance soon
I
by
know.
fall.
Yeah.
I heard August, September.
Do you think? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get that, but I definitely know it's coming. And when they keep on telling me don't, but I really do think there's going to be a fallout with the internet too. And I know people would probably be saying, "Oh, well, they keep on saying Facebook's going to go away or Instagram's going to go away." No, I'm talking the whole internet. Like, you're not going to be able to pick up your phone and text and phone home. You're not going to be able to do that. We're going to really appreciate the old days of writing with pen and paper and putting it in the mailbox and it being by a carrier taking it somewhere. Those
Yeah, I think
conveniences are going to be like, wow, we took those for granted.
yeah, I think we have to go back to if
Mm.
you follow the Hopi prophecies, like Hopi are big in Arizona. The
Mhm,
Hopi
mhm.
prophecies, they talk about, earthquakes and all of that and a lot of destruction and 3 days of darkness and all kinds of different stuff. But in the end, the Bible sort of predicts some of that stuff too. But I'd have to say more so than that, like all the gloom and doom, which I don't go for. But
Mm-mm.
there's bits and pieces when they speak. And it's not so much about that. There is going to be chaos because people now are so accustomed to a certain lifestyle. If you don't have internet, you don't get food at the store.
Right.
Everything is computer. Your cars, you will not have a car.
Mhm.
Everything is computerized. When I say, back to the horse and buggy days, the Amish got a lot good on us. They're way ahead of the game.
They are. And you were so right about the car, because you know what? Like, I think it was my husband made the statement one time, from my own cars, when you remember when we'd have to roll down the windows or whatever, whatever. And as we kept on, as our kids got older, and I'm like, well, they need a newer car. And what my husband would always say, but I don't know how to work on those cars. Because everything now is that little chip. They got to put in a thing. It was all the little sensors. Will tell them what's going
And they
on.
don't know how to work on those cars. I just had a major issues with my car. They don't even have it. They put it in. I swear. The guy was talking like it was a human being. Like, we have to plug it up into this thing and we have to put it to sleep. And then we have to shove this tube up the pipe. And I'm like, is it a fucking human being or what? Like, what the hell? Like, and he's like, oh, and we have to run like
What is the surgery schedule?
three different diagnostic tests, which are like $250. And I'm like, so there you go. That's a prime example. And they've gotten so complicated that even those people can't work on the car. They have to plug it in to get something to tell them what's wrong with the car.
Well, that's it. That's what I mean. So when it's all cool and you're sitting in some of these cars, granted, they're nice, granted, you know what I mean? And you have all the whistles and everything that you need. But if something goes out, what? That's the whole car. It's not like a quick fix anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not. So we need to prepare for the shift. And I wish more people would have got on here tonight, because I would have loved.
Somebody's watching, but I can't see who it is. So if you are watching and you want to chat and talk and let us know what you think, because all right, this is what else came through for me. Where was my notes? Everybody is going to have a different experience based on what it is that A, you contracted to do when you came here, and B, how much work you've done in that process, because now you're being called to something deeper, something more advanced. It's like everything is being arranged. Like, it's almost like, you remember those old, are they like, I'm dating myself again, the like Lincoln logs that you would put together and build a little cabin.
Yes.
Everything is being arranged like that to build. But then every person is going to have a different experience based on what they've done and what they've contracted to do. So your experience is not going to be my experience, because you've contracted other things. Maybe you don't need to forgive people in this lifetime. Maybe, I don't know, you don't have an ex-husband who is a monster. I'm just saying.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I also feel, because the more people I've been coming across, haven't you feel like a lot of people that you've been coming across, they're like, I just feel like my soul is changing. And they're not just saying me, they're saying my soul is changing. There's a change within me, but I just don't know where it's going. And I just don't know where. And one thing that I got just the other day, I had a person say that. She goes, I just feel like I'm supposed to help people. I'm here to serve. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do readings? Should I do a mastermind? Should I do, all this stuff? And I'm like, you know what I'm getting is just be you. You don't, just because you have the gift, right, or the awareness, doesn't mean that you're supposed to do anything with it. Maybe you should just know that you are aware of it. You're more in tune with your intuition. And maybe you're just supposed to be here to hold the light for everybody else. Right?
And be part of that web of connectivity, because we are all connected. This is a web. So as much as the dark is growing, the light is also very strong in their connectiveness. When I see it, it looks like a spider web, like all illuminated and lit up. And so there's pieces of that spider web that are like sort of like twinkling in and out. So they're not fully online yet, is what I call it. They're not fully there, but they're working to be there. And so when people are experiencing that, a lot of my clients are actually saying a little bit different, but they're saying, this life seems so mundane. Their everyday tasks now, going to work, caring for their family, seem mundane. It's like, I do the same thing day in and out. I wash the dishes, I do the laundry, I go to work, I come home, I work in the yard, whatever it is. It seems to be getting very mundane, because they're feeling this inner call to something deeper that they know exists, but they really haven't yet been exposed to it.
Right. And not allowing themselves to experience it because of that fear of going outside of their comfort zone. That's a huge one. People are so afraid to just jump out of that comfort zone. People are so afraid to be who they truly are. It was really sad. I was just in the other day, for some of you guys, that small town here in Tennessee. And I don't want to say Bible thumper, but it is. Everybody goes, the Christian. And trust me, I believe in the Lord, you know what I mean? And all that. I just don't go to church. Okay. So I'm not putting anybody down if they're watching, but it was really sad because I was over listening to this lady's conversation while I was looking at somebody, and she was telling the lady that she was talking to how she just went to church and she felt so uncomfortable because I guess whatever happened to her house, the neighbors found out. And then she's like, she could hear some of the people in the church talking to her, and then they were looking at her wrong. And I was just like, how sad, right? She's at a church where people should be loving on each other, and yet they were throwing stones at her,
Yeah.
right? And that's where I laugh when people are like, even like for me, I think that took a longest time of that battle, like God, and then so how can I think about the spirituality side of it? You know what I mean? It took me a
Yeah.
while to be able to separate it and then realize it's all one. But I was just like, I was so saddened for that lady. Here she was supposed to be at her safe zone, and those people that are taught
Mhm.
don't throw a stone unless you have never done anything bad. But if you've done, you know what I mean? If you've done nothing wrong in your life, then you can throw all the stones. But there's nobody who has been like that. We've all made mistakes. And
You
it
know,
just,
that's a perfect example of what I'd say is one of your goals in the next few months, especially the next. I feel like we have about 8 weeks to
mm,
prepare. One of your goals in the next 8 weeks
mm,
is to stay away from low frequency gossip.
yeah,
You want to know what to do? Stay away from gossip, stay away from the television, go within your
yeah,
heart and don't take what I'm saying and go out there and be like, well, Terri-Ann said this. Go within yourself and let
mhm,
me know what you're getting. Because again, it's going to be different, but I can guarantee you it's not going to be go watch the news and go talk about your neighbor.
right, right. And it's listening to your inner self and what fills you up and feels good. It goes all back to that. And you hear that over and over, but it is so true. And until people get that, they're going to be stuck in their own ways, right? And it's their old ways that they're trying to get out of. But so you got to do it. And that's part of that shift. Here we go again with that shift. You know what I mean? Is that pause, stop, kind of like you were saying, time to just chill, reflect, regain our energy, work on our body, mind, and soul. So when things do start changing, we're going to be able to handle it more than the person that is already that volcano I was talking about, Mother Earth, that they're just at the peak of ready, just losing their shit. They're going to lose it so much faster than the ones that are prepping and getting ready and just getting themselves grounded.
Yeah, and see, you saw it as a volcano, and I heard the word implosion.
Yeah, see, isn't that crazy? And that's hello. That's right
And we
there.
didn't talk about this before the show.
No, we didn't.
And
So,
then last night I had a dream about a lot of purging. Like there was a lot of, it was symbolic. It was a lot of vomiting and it was continuously.
ooh,
Yeah. And so people are going to be getting rid of that toxicity, purging that toxicity, learning to be aware of what that is they say to themselves up here. Even I was reminded by my son, I had a mediumship reading yesterday for his
hmm,
birthday. And
hmm,
I was reminded again, because in case I didn't remember, that I am amazing.
mm.
And I've had to say myself continuously today, you are amazing. And he wants to remind me of that. So even I, who've done all this work, I still have more work to do.
Oh my gosh. And Terri-Ann, you are amazing. Right when you said that, I don't get chills, and I got the biggest chill because for some reason you are feeling really low inside right now. Everybody's seeing a strong person, but right now they are telling me that you're feeling kind of empty inside right now. So
I
you
am.
are
It's
enough.
these 2 months. There's no
You are
coincidences. I'm
enough.
going to tell you.
You are
These 2 months, his birthday and his death date,
enough. Mm,
no coincidence that I'm going into this 40-day period between his birthday and his death date to be called to go within to make sure that my own chaos doesn't ensue within me, right? To make sure that I'm in this space because I
right.
can't be in the other space if I want to continue on and go where I'm supposed to go. This is part of Terri-Ann's lesson. So
Yeah.
even though you see a strong person on the outside, in the inside, for me, this is a very pivotal time in my life with the birth and the death of my son.
Yeah.
And there's no coincidence that it coincides with this exact thing that's happening now.
Right, right. And it's true. It's true. It's just get ready. I guess that's what our lesson is for today, is just people really take time, just sit back, watch this, and just when you get done watching this, just stop and reflect.
Mm-hmm.
Reflect
Mm-hmm.
on what your weaknesses are and how can you work on your weaknesses to make them not weaknesses anymore,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Change them to your strength. And then I would invite you also to really pay attention to the environment that you're around, the energy that you're around. And because you cannot be walking around with low energy, and stop walking around thinking that we have all the time in the world. And when I say that again, I'm not saying the world's going to come to an end. I'm just saying that I
The world
feel
is going to be different.
the world is going to be different. Yes. And if you want to stay in the back and want it the old way and keep on the way it's going, then you're going to be in hurts, because we're always changing, and we're in for that big bang. Like, that show, The Big Bang Theory. That's what I think, a big shift like that is coming.
Yeah.
And
Do you feel when I was meditating earlier before the show, it almost felt to me like, the solar flares, they come in spurts. And
Mhm,
so we feel it. We're very sensitive. Some people feel that shift when the solar flares come in
right,
internally, and it's changing things in our DNA and all of that.
right.
It almost feels like we've done a shift,
Mhm.
but then these little spurts are coming in, and then it's going to be one like, and I'm not talking, because a lot of people talk about, the end or the whiteout or the big solar. I'm not talking about the solar
No,
flare.
I don't
I'm
see that
talking
either.
about within you.
Mhm.
This is a spiritual thing, and it's going to be within you. So the
Yeah.
stronger you are, mental, physical, and emotional, that
Mhm.
connection. And so, coming from a person who's in that low space right now,
Yeah.
I'm working very hard at being in this space to create what's coming
What's coming?
next.
Yep.
So meditation, sunshine,
Mhm.
whatever, like you were saying, yoga. I've been really delving into my journaling again, spending time like doing energy healing again on myself. And so really taking that time and that space to go inwards.
Right, right. We're going to have another COVID, like not a COVID, but a COVID situation where you're going to have to really learn how to be isolated again. But I think even more insulated than COVID. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be, at least we had our TVs, we had our phones, I think it's going to be a different kind of shift this time around. And it's not going to last long, right? Because I think light workers and healers and stuff like us, I think we're going to have to work a little bit harder. I think it's going to wean out the fakes of the world. But I also think that this shift is not just changing us, it's changing every single person. It's going to change my husband, it's going to change my kids, it's going to change my grandkids, it's going to change anything that is walking on this earth. There's going to be a shift again, a
Yeah.
shift, a new way
And
of living and thinking. Yep.
and because of what we learned or did not learn with COVID,
Mhm.
uh I feel like it's just going to be like, you go to bed, you wake up, and there's going to be a whole new world that exists before you.
Mm,
And it's going to take, that's the time and stuff that it's going to take, some people to get accustomed to what that is, and that new um,
yeah.
energy, I guess, that's there, and to understand what
Hmm.
that is, and understand that we are all here at this time because we contracted to be here at this time. We've all contracted. Some will not stay. There's others that won't stay either, and that's just part of their contract. If um, I've known a lot of people recently that have passed on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people leaving. I believe that those people contracted to leave, and that they are doing their part on the other side.
Hmm.
So I think there's a lot of, again, variables that go into all this. Do we know it all? No.
No.
We don't know it all, and we're not going to know it all.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not afraid to say we aren't going to know. Ann and I are both similar. We're not going to sit here and say we know it all, because we don't know it all. This is the information that we each get, that we share with you. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, move on.
Right.
I watch plenty of people that I watch on podcasts, and some of the stuff resonates, some of the stuff don't. I
Right.
just let it go be what it is.
Mhm.
I'm not dissing them for it. I'm just in my space where that resonates with me. Okay, great. That doesn't, okay, move on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just like this show. Some shows you might get somebody that watches it and be like, "Oh my God, that was so amazing." And then they might watch us the next week and be like, "Oh, well, those girls suck tonight." You know what I mean? It just didn't resonate of where they are in this time. And right now, just with how many people I've been spending time and have the opportunity to talk to and stuff, this feeling is coming too much. So it's giving me like, okay, I need to journal this. I need to go deeper on my journaling. And when I do that, that's what came up. And it was like, wow. I mean, it was just crazy. It was just crazy to me what came up and what they were showing to me. Cause I'm like, okay, why aren't I doing this? Cause um, over a year ago, they showed me this house, you know what I mean? And that's what's so crazy. I even have a picture of this house that they drew that I knew this was going to be the house that we were going to move into. They showed me the car. They showed me just different things. I'm like, okay, but why isn't it coming? It's just because it's not the way it's going to happen. And I got to be patient. You got to take your time. I'm trying to get to the finish line without going through all the stuff yet. Your muck, your mud. I need to go through all that first before I can get to that
And
finish
it's
line.
yours. It's nobody else's.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because think about it. When you first start this journey, right? When you get in tune and you're like, okay, and you start to figure out your gifts or your possibilities, because anybody can do this, right? And then once you start doing it, you're like, okay, I can't wait to get here. Well, then when you get here, it's like you finish that finish line, and then you see another finish line, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a never ending. It's never ending. We will never know it all, like you said, and there will never be a finish line. I think my finish line will be the day when my heartbeat stops. That's when I get to my finish line.
Exactly. And so think about it. That's a good point, because we all want to know our gifts, right? We want to talk about, what's my gift? What's my purpose? What about the stuff that's holding you back? Nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to say, like, there's doubts that I doubt that I'm amazing, right? I've forgotten who I was. I've been conditioned to believe I am not amazing. And that's throughout the lessons that I've had set up in this life. And now I'm 53, and my son in spirit has to say, you're fucking amazing. Why don't you know that you're fucking amazing?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So still at 53 and through all of my lessons, I'm still learning how amazing I am.
Yep. And you are amazing. And that is one of the
and
biggest.
You are amazing too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But that is one of the biggest gifts that we have to go through, or one of the challenges that we have to go to. I know for me, that was huge, because when I came into my gifts and then I came out of the closet with my gifts, right? That was huge for me. I mean, absolutely huge. And then it was like, okay, now I want to be like, those people on TV, or, oh my gosh, I want to be that guest speaker on the stage and whatever. And then Spirit was like, that's them. It wasn't until I really sat down and started really doing more inner work, and kind of like they were saying, slow your wheel, because because your gift doesn't mean you have to do something with it. But mine was, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right here, right? Doing what me and you are doing, just keeping it real, talking about our subjects. And then I'm supposed to help somebody get out of their stuck. I'm not supposed to be doing all that other stuff, because when I was doing it, it was driving me crazy. And then it was like, okay, well, I must be doing something wrong. Instead of sitting back and going, no, you were doing everything right. It's just that wasn't for you, and you weren't in alignment. That's why it never worked for you, because you were doing something that wasn't meant to be.
Right.
But I was so focused on getting there, and that's what I had to do, that I didn't stop and observe myself and be like, but that's not who I am, and that's not.
Love that, though.
That's when everything just started aligning up.
I
lining
love
it.
that because it's like it's a preparation. Everything that
Mm,
you're doing in this life from the day you're born,
yep,
you're learning and you're preparing for a certain time when you need to express and use those experiences that you
yeah,
had. You
yeah,
know, you're being called to look at what is it that holds you back? You know,
yeah,
what is it that you have fear from? Where are your doubts, your insecurities, your shame, your guilt, whatever it is? What do you need to purge to realize that you are this divine light being
yep. But
that
it's
has
everybody
been
else's shit.
created that was perfect?
Mm-hmm. Because think about it. When we work with people, think about it. Everything that they say that is negative, that they feel about themselves, they think about their environment, everything that they hate about their lives, if they just stop right there and then when we work with them, if you notice, every single one of them is not because their inner world is their outer world. To being accepted, you're not looking this way. Well, you should be acting this way. Well, oh, you shouldn't. You know what I mean? It's coming from everybody else. And that's what we got to stop
Because
doing.
that's what you've been conditioned to
That's
believe
what
you
we,
are.
from the moment we have been born, exactly. From
Yeah.
the moment we were born, somebody has been conditioning us to be that right
And
way.
so the world we're going to live in has none of that. You won't have time to think about whether Anne thinks I look good today because I'm going to be out picking my own food looking like shit in the field.
Right, and you just don't care, right? No, but that's it. So that's the bliss of it. So I'm just like, yeah, I years ago, I'll never forget, have you ever had those aha moments just in
Mhm.
time, and you wonder why certain things like just stood out, like now, like kind of like you were saying, you go through an experience, you think it's horrible, but it takes you a couple years, like, oh, thank gosh I went through that experience because it's helping me with the now, you know? And I was at a funeral with one of the doctors that I worked with, and I remember the lady that lost her husband got up there, and she's like, it was time for God to take his, to say his box did what it needed to do. It held up, and then now it had to go away, and that stuck out into my head for the longest time. I'm like, the box. Like, so we're just boxes just living here. What is that saying that everybody says? We're we're spiritual beings living a human experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're,
That.
excuse me, in the matrix. This is
Mm,
a simulation. It's all been programmed by what you've wanted it to do
mhm,
before you contracted to come here to do it. When you
mhm.
realize that you're living in the simulation, this is what you were brought here to do. Mine will be different than yours. My experience will be different than yours. None of us have the same experiences in our life. We could
Right.
have gone through the same thing and it would not be the same experience because
Absolutely.
it's how we view it through our perspective, through our
Yeah.
experiences, what we needed to learn from that experience.
Yeah. Well, that's just even now. Like, you know what I mean? Me and you can go somewhere where we can watch a movie together, watch the same movie, and you know that we're going to have probably two different views on the movie that we just saw.
And it'll be
Like,
totally different. Like I'll be like, "Oh, did you see that?" And you'll be like, "No, I didn't see that." And I'll be like, "How did you not see that?"
and it's
My
so,
husband and I, oh my god, we just watched Encanto for the first time today. I
oh,
have been dying to see Encanto. I knew it held. So this is gonna sound crazy. Children's movies hold deep-seated messages for me.
mm, mm,
Every child's movie that I've seen holds deep-seated messages. Same thing happened with Encanto, and I said to my husband, the exact thing you just said. Like, didn't you see? And no,
yeah,
how
right?
did you not see that?
Because it's all the perspective. Some people, like, in one of my classes that I teach, some people look with their lens like really, really tight, and then some look through a bigger lens. So it just depends on how big your lens is, that what
Exactly.
you're seeing in the world, right?
Your experiences and your perspectives, how that lens sees things, and the more you clear, the more you remove away, the more that lens gets bigger and
Bigger.
clearer.
Absolutely.
And
And
how
that's what
amazing
we
is that?
right? And it's so true. It is so true. And it's just, but we got to practice that. And it's practice, practice, practice. And the more that we do it, then it just becomes it. It just becomes it. And then before you you're like, wow, that was pretty freaking, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to start taking care of ourselves, body, mind, and soul. That was another thing. Spirit was talking. It was so funny that you were saying that because I've been just really watching what I'm eating and stuff like that on a weight loss thing. And then I kind of got off of it and I'm just like, gosh, why can't I get with it? So when I went into the, I know I'm getting off the ship, but I went into the Akasha records, right? And I'm like, what the hell? Like before, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do today? Where, how can I serve? Whatever, whatever. But today I was like, why can't I stay on a freaking diet? And literally what I got back is because I don't, how did it come out? Because you don't think of yourself as a temple. My question, and
Mm.
then my question, what was it? My question to you is, would you go and throw stain on a temple, a temple? And I'm like, well, no. Then why are you throwing stain on yourself? And I was like, oh, wow. Wow.
And when they say
Wow.
it's so hard, right? It's like food.
Right? But,
It's like,
but now,
that's true.
right? Yeah. So last night when I really wanted that ice cream, it's so funny because I'm like,
Did you hear it?
would I put the temple? Is that throwing stain on the temple? So we'll see how long that lasts. But that was so empowering that what came back out of there. You know what I mean? About would you throw stain? I
Well,
don't
think
think
about it. Think about the light body being separate from the physical body. The light body is perfect in
yeah,
every way.
every
The
way.
physical body is the body that struggles because it's the densest body. Then we get the emotional, mental body that comes in. And I'm an emotional eater. So I definitely have to watch what I think about what I'm eating and everything. And I'm like, and it's like everywhere, and it's like everywhere you go. And I get the same messages, and I'm like, what the hell? Can't I just have whatever, And they're like, yeah, you can have it, but it's going to lower your vibe and you're going to feel like shit. And so after a couple of days of being in Sedona and being really heavy energy, and
Mm-hmm.
eating stuff I shouldn't have eaten,
Mm-hmm.
I was sick all the time. Every day I ate something I wasn't supposed to eat, I was sick. I came home, I shifted my eating again. I felt better. And it's like, okay, now you know. So you
Yeah.
see, you can no longer do what you did
Yeah.
and get to where you want to get to. Now you have to sit down and be conscious
Mm-hmm.
about what it is that's not resonating with your light body any longer. It's
Yeah.
not the physical, it's your light.
Yeah. And I totally get that because wouldn't you agree? Like when you start eating better, don't you get your downloads so much faster and so much easier? When I'm like really, really not so
Spirulina,
bloated
I'm
and stuff,
telling you.
I get my downloads so nice and clear. I'm not trying to fight it and anything. And I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. But then when I do go off the rail and then I do eat crazy or whatever, then my focus on my downloads has to be a little bit more. I really have to pay attention to what I'm getting, what I'm feeling, and what I'm sensing. I really have to pay more attention as
Mhm.
when I'm more clear or cleaner inside, I can sit back and man, it's just like just somebody opened up my brain and just went there you go. And I'm like, okay, but then that's what it pisses me off too, is I know that, but then it's so easy to fall off.
Well,
And
because
it's
you go out to dinner with your friends or you're celebrating an event and there's all sorts of different things. But spirulina, I'm telling you, you have Whole Foods or whatever by you? No. Well, you could probably get it
sure I can
online.
probably get it online or go into
Spirulina.
go into town. Spirulina.
Look up spirulina. What else did I get today? Spirulina,
Spirulina.
green juices, berries,
Oh, I love berries.
alkaline or distilled water, high
Oh, that's
frequency foods. So check the frequencies. Each of our foods have different frequencies.
okay.
And I'm going to say, and it's probably not going to be popular, but I don't eat a lot of meat, but
Mhm.
meat does carry a lower frequency. So
Right.
I go through spurts because I am anemic. So I will eat meat once in a while.
I love my meat. I love my meat. I love
I
my
know, but
hamburgers.
you can do different things if you're going to eat meat to raise the frequency of it.
Yeah.
But so there's all, and that again is tuning into what you're called for. Like I said, a few months ago when I was writing the book, I got the weirdest cravings that I could not even. olives, which I don't like. I've been
Mhm.
craving olives like crazy.
Mhm.
Apple juice, which I don't like. I had to have apple juice. And now this week I got liverwurst. Well, let me tell you, liverwurst.
I don't
Oh
know
my God,
about
I have
that one.
nightmares about liverwurst, but I'm going to go get some liverwurst this weekend and eat a couple pieces and see how it feels.
Shush. Okay, you're gonna have to tell me what you think. I can't.
So when I get messages, it's funny because I'll get places. I usually get months like that have to do like with moving or something.
Right, right.
Um, I'll get food, I'll get crystals, I'll get oils, you know. So I'm in tune that way where I'm very in tune with my body for somebody that goes off the rails. I still am very in tune with what my body is telling me it needs.
Well,
So I'm
you're
not against
good for you. Good for you. I hear it, but I don't listen to it. It's just,
it.
but it's just a constant work in
Would be like
progress.
liverwurst. What the
Oh,
fuck?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a name. I don't know. My mom loves her liver and onions. Oh my gosh, that's the favorite. And I can honestly say I always, but I've never had it. It might be amazing, like she says it is,
Did it
but
make
maybe
you eat it when you were little?
no.
Oh,
I'm
my
just
mother made us eat it.
maybe it's just the name that grosses me out. Just like to this day, I have never had cottage cheese.
Ooh, it's good.
And my husband can eat cottage cheese, and he can put like the fruit and all that. Look, I can't.
What about, have you had pate?
I can't get past. Yeah, and I have no problem with that.
Well, pate is liver.
I know, but okay, yeah, but I don't
It's
know.
just
It's
liver and like a
that
little.
skinny little thing laying on the plate. I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I
Yeah.
can't do that. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this had nothing to do with the shift or eating situation.
Well, it had something, and we were on topic. It had to do with high vibe foods and high frequencies and spirulina and
Yeah,
berries before we got off the subject on liverwurst.
yeah. So if anybody's on here tonight, once we wrap it up, just reach out. Let us know what you thought about tonight. If you feel like you're going through a shift, what you think is going on, and I love
What you
hearing.
do? What do you do to
Yeah,
tune in and see about that shift? What you
yeah.
need?
Yeah, and I would just, love to hear everybody's inputs. I just
Mhm.
love that. There's no wrong, there's no right. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. We're just saying what we feel, and that's all we can do right now.
Because
Just
Anne's not going to go eat no liverwurst.
no, I'm not going to do liverwurst, and I am not going to do cottage cheese. I'm just not going to do it. So no.
Oh man, I hope you get some cottage cheese. They're gonna be like
Ugh,
tomorrow, cottage
no,
cheese.
you know
They're
what I
gonna
can
be
eat
like,
all the time though? I
what the
can eat
hell?
mushrooms like they're going out of
I
style.
love mushrooms.
I can eat mushrooms like they're going out of style. And I love squash. I could eat squash like it's going out of
What
style
about
too.
Nepalese? You know what Nepalese are?
No,
Oh my God, cactus! The cactus leaves, Nepalese on the which cactus is one of the cactuses, but Nepalese, yeah, maybe prickly pear, but the Nepalese,
Oh, I love prickly pear.
but the
Yeah,
Nepalese are like the leaf cut up and stuff. They sell it like in a jar. It's like I don't know.
really? Is it good?
I like them,
Oh, I don't know.
and it's
I'll have to
cactus.
see.
So.
I'll have to see if we have it.
Mhm.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah. Oh
All
my god.
right,
And look
so
at my
you
hand, I'm like,
guys.
oh, I got burnt today.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Look at that.
oh, look at that.
Kind of had like a little flat tire today, so I was like standing on the side of the road. Kind of sucked for a minute,
Oh
but I
my
didn't realize.
God.
Holy cow, Batman! All
See, is
right.
that a sign to slow down?
Yeah, it is. Mhm. Yeah.
They have
All
to give
right.
you sometimes. I'm like you. I'm like, I don't do subtleties. So you want me to know something, you need me
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna
show
have to
me.
really. I gotta. So I'm working on my weaknesses. Procrastination. Right. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on my
Patience.
patience.
You got some today.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna work on just going with the flow, just slowing
Awesome.
it down and just going with the flow, and we're just see where it takes us. That's all we can do. All we can
Absolutely.
do, and just send a lot of love out into the world.
Well, let's finish on that. So if you
Yes,
want to like, subscribe, and share to our show, we would appreciate it.
yes,
And you can catch us next week live at 5 p.m. Arizona time,
yes.
7 p.m. Central Time,
Tennessee, yeah,
8
Central.
p.m. Eastern Time, unless something
Mr.
happens.
Hansen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's my fault. It's my fault tonight. I was completely off on the time. And Miss Terri-Ann, thank gosh for her, is like, hello, are you okay? Are
Are
you
you
gonna jump in? I'm
okay?
like, oh my gosh, sure, maybe like in a half an hour, right? And she's like, no, now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah. Okay,
Great.
gonna
We'll see you next week live.
yes.